Wait, Barry, what are you doing? These A True Service videos are normally you covering a company that's done wrong. Valve could never do wrong. Barry, this better not be a negative video. I swear to Gabe and Valve is perfect, okay? You hear me, Barry? No. Steam is not perfect, and it has its faults. And there's one in particular that I keep running into, and it's about time I go over it. Steam is a great DRM. It's arguably the best DRM on the PC gaming platform, and some will go as far as to argue that Steam itself is better than sites like GOG, which although do have their own DRMs, is mostly just a library to store your games rather than a digital manager. But besides it being the subjective best DRM on PC, there are a few things that I find truly annoying and even scummy, and this is the friends list paywall. Now what am I talking about? Well, for the average user, your friends list is more than you'll ever need. You'll have your real life friends and some people you met online. Filling that 250 friends limit is not going to be an issue that you're ever going to face. But for streamers, YouTubers, celebrity gamers, anyone who has a Steam account and is a well-known personality, they're gonna run into an issue. See, Steam allows you to level up, and as you do, you gain friend slots. Level 1 to 2 gives you 5 friend slots, and every time after gives you 5 more. Now, as far as I know, it doesn't get much harder to level up in Steam. I think every 4 or 5 badges you get, it gives you a level up, and in doing so, 5 more friend slots. But this paywall is stupid. Well, Barry, Steam as a DRM is free, and there are only a few people who would actually want to level up. Wait a minute. Are you trying to tell me that Valve needs this money? 'Cause if so, here's what I have to say about that. Valve takes a cut of every game they sell. They make a killing off CSGO skins alone. The DRM just being alive makes them tons of money. And if your logic is correct, and Steam needs this, yet only a small percentage level themselves up, then Steam wouldn't make that much off this, now would they? Look, I know it's a free DRM and I get that they want to make money, but a paywall is a paywall. This is something you normally see Sony and Microsoft doing by locking away the ability to play games with your friends. It's not as extreme, but if anyone ever told you that Valve would never do this to you, they're wrong. It's how businesses are. When it comes to this system, it can be very expensive, especially for someone like me who wants to continue leveling up and adding friends. And in order to illustrate this, I'm actually going to give you guys a run through of how this works. Keep in mind, I have to do this to level up, and this long, tedious process is 100% necessary if I want to continue adding friends. So here I have my inventory. Now I have about 26 pages of cards, mostly thanks to you guys, and I cannot thank you enough for how generous you have been. Anyway, in your inventory you have cards, emotes, coupons, and Steam profile backgrounds, and all of these can be sold on the market. What I do is go to my badges tab and see what badges I'm close to making. I click on one, go to the market, purchase the card I need, and then make the badge. Wash, rinse, repeat. Now you may say, wow, Barry, you have 50 bucks on Steam, you're rich. Actually, that money is a combination of generous donations over PayPal from a couple of you, my own money, and cards that I've sold that I could not make into badges, either because I only had 1 or 2 cards and it would not have been worth it to purchase the full deck, or because I had fully leveled up the badge that the cards made, and I'll go into that one later. Well, Barry, in some of this recording we see that there are people with cards that you need. Why not just message them and ask for that card instead of buying it? Because firstly, this is already a time-consuming process. Going as fast as possible, it takes me about 5 minutes to level up once. Taking more time out to beg for cards is not worth it, and it makes me look like I'm fishing. I'm more than happy to just purchase the card and continue, even if it does cost me in the long run. Now that was just the first part. I know that seemed like a long process in itself, but there are actually 3 steps to this entire thing, and like I said, this takes a lot of time. The next thing I do is I go to my friends list and figure out how many people I can now add. See, I can't just start adding people willy-nilly. Though I wish I could, I have to take into consideration that one of my promises on Patreon is that if you donate to me, I will ensure that we're friends on Steam, so I always have to keep a couple slots open. Now I normally keep this around 5 free slots so that I can add as many as possible, but again, this wouldn't be an issue if Steam's paywall didn't exist. Oh, and while we're on the topic of adding people, before I knew this was an issue, I filled my friend slots, and ever since then, I've been unable to friend anyone I want to. Let's say I want to friend someone from work, or a YouTuber that I like. The only way I could do so is if they friend me first, because once you run out of friend slots on Steam just one time, no matter how many friend slots you now have open, Steam will always think your friends list is full. Now comes the next part, which takes up most of the time leveling up on Steam. If I come across a card that I want to sell, I can do that anytime on the Steam market. I stated before that if I have cards that don't complete a full badge, I typically sell them to essentially trade them for another card that will help me get a badge. But did you guys know that you can only level up a badge so much? When I first asked you guys if you could gift me some cards, a lot of you, a ton of you, sent me Counter-Strike cards. I leveled the Counter-Strike badge about 5 times until the Counter-Strike badge was at a full level and no longer eligible to be made. See, badges only level up so far. If I make a Binding of Isaac badge, a Half-Life badge, the Doom badge, the Mean Greens badge too many times, I can no longer make it ever again, and those cards do nothing more than sit around, so I have to sell them. In time, there will be a huge list of games that I can no longer craft badges for, and though this isn't a huge deal, being as how there are thousands of games on Steam that drop cards, this is yet another hindrance in this unfortunate paywall. Okay, so I've made badges, I've added some friends, I've sold some cards. Everything I can do has been done, right? The process is over, yes? Well, no. Because Steam is so tight about theft, the Steam Guard is an active nuisance that I constantly have to deal with during this whole process. Every time someone gifts me cards, there's a good chance that I have to wait 15 days before receiving them. When I sell an item on the market, I have to load into the app and approve the transaction from my phone, and this application is such a buggy piece of crap that it will almost guarantee a screen saying, "An error has occurred, please try again later." And all this because I wanted to add friends. Something so simple. Just adding friends is locked away. And imagine if I was doing this on my own. No help from anyone. I can't even begin to understand how expensive that would be. Great business practice, Valve. Now I wanted to show you guys this process, not just to complain about Valve and show you how terrible this is, but because there are a lot of things that could feel very scummy. The fact is, I asked for trading cards from you guys so that I could level up. I have pages and pages of cards that I proactively sell in the market, and you saw the money that makes. That $50 was mostly from selling cards on the market, and with that, I myself am sliding down a very slippery slope. Who's to say that I'm not using those cards irresponsibly, using them to purchase games instead of using them to add friend slots? And this is something that I wouldn't be able to prove if I was accused of this. Not only did I ask for your cards, but you couldn't possibly know what they're being used for. But this is why I made this video. Because even though I would never misuse these cards or abuse that trust that you've given me, you guys should know that this is a system that can be abused. This is a system used to make money, and that's why Valve implemented it. And I could misuse that, and you guys should know. However, I would never betray that trust, and I cannot thank you enough for the cards that you've given me to make this possible. Most of these cards were given by those who already had me in their Steam library. They didn't have to care about anyone else. They didn't need to bother themselves with me adding more people because they were already here. But despite that, they selflessly donated these cards to give others the chance to friend me. And in a way, this paywall truly showed me how beautiful this community is. That's not saying a lot of Valve, but of you guys. And I can't thank you enough. Without this paywall, I may never have known to the extent how cool you guys are. Regardless, this paywall is stupid. Paying money to level up so I can play games with my friends? Does that not sound familiar, Steam? Perhaps a trick you picked up from Microsoft? Yeah, I thought so.